Welcome to episode 4 of Chiefs Weekly Chat. I am your host Owen, and this week we have another story from the man himself and a debate between me and a new guest. So let's just zip into the next segment.
Today's story of my childhood comes from a lesson that I learned about not believing everything you see on television. You see, it was back when I was probably 10 years old, and a very popular TV show at the time was MacGyver, where I think there's a new version of that today, but the old version, I remember he could take a stick of gum, a matchstick, and maybe some twine and make a nuclear bomb. I mean, he was an engineer, and he came up with creative ways to solve problems. And one day my brother and I were watching it, and keep in mind, we had no neighbors. I mean, we had to entertain ourselves. And we were watching MacGyver, and he had to escape from a building. And so he threw a rope across the two buildings and took his belt off, threw his belt over the rope, and zip-lined all the way across this city street to the other building, where he went into the window and escaped whatever he was trying to escape from. So we had a tower behind our house that was for the TV, because we couldn't get good TV reception. So we actually had a radio tower that was about 50 feet tall behind the house that had a TV antenna on top of it. So we tied a rope probably about 25 feet up on the tower, tied the rope to the tower, and then took the rope all the way across to the barn, which was across the yard, and tied it to the side of the barn. And we made our own zip line. Now, keep in mind, we had to do this all while the parents were not understanding what we were doing. They didn't know what we were doing, because they knew this was they would have stopped us. I had really good parents who were actually very careful to keep us from getting hurt, but we were able to sneak around a good bit. So anyway, we climbed up the tower. My brother and I fought briefly, and because he was the older brother, he got to go first, which to this day I'm still a little upset about. It's not fair that he got to go first, but he threw his belt over the top of it and started sliding, and we found out really quickly that friction was a force in nature, and friction will actually burn and melt a leather belt. So he made it about a third of the way down the zip line before his belt snapped in half and he fell to the ground. Lucky for us, he missed the sidewalk and landed in the wet ground. It was kind of muddy. Only broke his wrist. So yeah, it was a really, really good lesson for him. The worst part is, if he had not been crying and writhing around in pain so much, I was already putting my belt on to slide down to help him, but instead decided that I should probably climb down because his arm was facing the wrong direction. But that's when we learned that just because you see it on TV doesn't mean it's true, and I guess that we also learned that friction and gravity are not always your friend. That's my story.
What a great story. Now let's get into the debate between me and Maggie, our logistical director. Hello, welcome to debate number 2. I'm with Maggie, our logistical director.
Hello.
We're going to be debating what is the best flavor of ice cream.
And I already know I'm going to win.
Sure, okay. We'll let the people decide.
Mm.
Well, so what is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
My favorite flavor of ice cream is Mint Mousse Tracks, because it's objectively the best flavor. I mean, it's got these delicious, just giant chocolate fudge ribbons, sometimes the size of your hand, and the mint is just enough to balance out how like powerful the taste of the chocolate is.
Where are you getting ice cream where it can be the size of your hand?
I don't know. It's like the gallon size container. It's like the length of your hand, not like the full like density of your hand.
I was expecting ice cream the size of my hand.
Yeah, I think we all are, but if you find that, let me know. I'd love to have ice cream like that, but it is the length of your hand.
Oh. Okay.
And there's also these big like chocolate cups as well, and they're really good. It's just a nice balance.
I have to be on the complete other side. Well, kinda. I like cotton candy ice cream. It's just pure sweet.
I mean, I see that, but I feel like with cotton candy, it's just kind of odd because it's just kind of one thing. Because yes, it's the different colors of blue and pink, but there's not actually a difference in flavor.
Well, it's basic. It's simple. It's proper.
Exactly. Who wants proper ice cream? What, next are you going to tell me your second favorite flavor is vanilla?
Maybe.
Oh my god. But why would you want ice cream to be simple and proper? The whole point of ice cream is to indulge yourself.
But, you see, ice cream is like, why would you want to bite something in your ice cream? You have to do that with most ice creams.
In cotton candy, forgive me if I'm wrong, aren't there those little candy chunks in them?
I have never had cotton candy ice cream with little rocks in them, like the chunks.
That's in every cotton candy ice cream. What's wrong with your cotton candy ice cream? You
Maybe
getting like
I'm getting-
knockoff off-brand?
Yes.
Seriously, it's my mother's favorite flavor, and the cotton candy ice cream always has these little like candy chunks in them. They're pink and they do taste good, but nowhere near as good as mint Moose Tracks.
Mint and Moose Tracks do not need to be near each other. I mean,
But it's just big things of chocolate with mint. How can you go wrong with that?
okay, a lot of people don't like mint chocolate chip because it's mint and chocolate. You are like adding to the chocolate.
Right, but first of all, anyone who doesn't like mint and chocolate has some problems they need to sort out.
You're gonna need to go talk to our last guest, Ben.
Oh gosh. But I don't understand why. Okay, so you don't like mint and chocolate. That does not also mean you like the taste of cotton candy, or really the artificial taste of cotton candy, because it's not proper cotton candy. So,
Cotton candy cannot be proper. It is flavored sugar.
you just said you like your ice cream to be plain and proper,
Yes.
like cotton candy ice cream.
Yes, but once again, you cannot have a proper cotton candy because cotton candy is not real.
That is not. Cotton candy is real.
I mean, you can physically hold a cotton
So
candy.
therefore, it's real. It's not a figment of your imagination.
It could be.
You're not eating it in your dreams.
You don't know that.
Okay, aside from the existential crisis, cotton candy, there is so many things that people could not like about it. Maybe they don't like the taste of it. Maybe they don't like how brightly colored it is because it can stain your mouth. What about the fact that, once again, maybe people like having things in their ice cream instead of it just being straight smooth. Maybe they like having some texture in there.
Those people are wrong.
That's not an argument.
That is a perfect
That is your
argument.
opinion.
My opinion is facts.
That's not a thing.
Could be.
Where can you go wrong with big things of chocolate? Unless you're like, Ben, who hates chocolate. How can you go wrong with having ice cream that is just exclusively just enjoyment? Because now, and even if you don't like just straight chocolate, now you have the mixture of mint in there with it. I don't see what could be wrong, and I really don't see how cotton candy is even in the same debate.
Cotton candy ice cream is better than mint chocolate or mint mousse. Why do you want
Moose
mousse in your
Tracks.
ice cream? I know it's mousse as in like the. What is mousse? I've never met chocolate mousse. I've never.
Chocolate
seen-
mousse is a dessert.
Why are you putting another dessert into a dessert?
Didn't you just do that to yourself? I'm sorry, but I'd like to point out, putting another dessert into a dessert, cotton candy is typically considered a dessert, considering the fact that it is, in fact, pure sugar. And that's already adding into ice cream. So therefore, you're adding another dessert into a dessert. So I ask you, why are you adding another dessert into a dessert?
Well, I ask you in return, who is eating cotton candy as a dessert?
Number one, yes, I get it. Cotton candy is not like a traditional dessert you have in your
Who
pantry.
just has cotton candy on hand?
Right, but when you go to what about when you go to a fair? You get cotton candy as a treat.
I guess, but you're not eating that as a dessert. You're eating it as a treat.
Well, right, but a treat is a dessert. When I have lunch and I have a little snack cake in my lunch, that's my treat, but it's also my dessert.
I guess that's
They're
that's a fair
synonyms
point.
in this case.
Synonyms, fine. Still,
Okay, why is cotton candy the best flavor?
I've already said it's simple, and you can go back to that whole you can mix things in point.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Right, but what are you going to mix into cotton candy ice cream? Because my point is, you can add things to something like mint chocolate chip because you can add caramel sauce. You can add.
You minting.
It's an objective. You can't really add stuff to cotton candy. You add chocolate syrup to cotton candy, and it tastes terrible.
Yeah,
Terrible.
you keep the chocolate out, but you keep the fruit in. You put like strawberry syrup on top of it. You can put blueberries
Okay,
in it.
but that is its own point of. At that point, is it still considered a dessert if you're adding fruit into it? Because I'll tell you this: if you give a child an option between blueberries and strawberries, or ice cream, I'll tell you what their answer is going to be, and it's not going to be blueberries and strawberries.
I must have had a weird childhood because I would have picked the strawberries and blueberries.
You did have a weird childhood then, yes.
But still, you can put fruit on top of cotton candy.
But
They're already fruit flavored usually. Wouldn't you want to have an ice cream as the objectively best ice cream flavor be something that has literally everything in it?
So something like Mint Moose Tracks, because
That is
all
two
that-
things.
the point you just made is that wouldn't you like an ice cream that has everything in it? All that cotton candy has in it is some flavoring.
Yeah, I'm admitting that objectively it is not the best flavor, but to me it is. But it's
Okay.
also yours is not the objective best.
Okay. Why is that? Because by that logic, it would be something that's already mixed in. It would be something simple like chocolate. And yes, chocolate is a great flavor, but the simplicity of it makes it boring. When you are indulging and you reach into the fridge and you have options, if you have the option between chocolate or mint chocolate chip, you're going to go for mint chocolate chip because it has more of a variety.
Objectively, if you're trying to find the best, it means it has to have everything covered. So like you would need a fruit flavor in there, a chocolate flavor, I guess mint.
See, that's
But-
not true because that would be the worst ice cream in the world.
It would.
I mean, first of all, that's basically just Neapolitan, but with mint instead of vanilla. But then you just have this horrible mixture of too much sweetness and just too many flavors at once. Whereas you have exactly two flavors in mint chocolate chip, mint and chocolate.
So you mean vanilla's the best?
No, we've already been over that vanilla is not the best because it is too simple. There has to be a happy medium between too many flavors and not enough.
That's true. It is just flavoring.
Exactly. It's not just flavoring. Flavoring and food dye are a separate thing.
You think there's any actual mint in any of the ice cream
Oh,
you've ever
God,
eaten?
no. But I'm saying the flavoring is a separate add-in.
Well, yeah. Well, sometimes there's some.
If you're making like the rock salt ice cream we make in middle school, then sure.
No, and actual like businesses, you can buy it pre-colored.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it still started out as being it being separate.
No, I'm saying the flavor and the color, yeah, they can be separated. Okay.
Correct.
Now I see your point.
Yes.
Still, flavor-wise, no kid wants mint. Business people like mint. I've never met a child that will take a mint over cotton candy.
But that's talking about the flavoring in itself. You also have to consider the fact that there is mass amounts of chocolate in this thing. If the kid sees the lump of chocolate the size of their little hand in there, they're going to go for that over some pink and blue, no matter how vibrant it is.
I think a child would rather eat something pink and blue filled with sugar called cotton candy than mint.
But it's not just mint, is the point. I stand by my point that Mint Moose Tracks is the best because it's got the best middle ground of flavor because it's both got, yes, like ice cream with mint in it, because, and business people or whatever else you want to say about it.
Corvos.
And children like things that are like chocolate, and it's a happy ground because the parents will be like, okay, well, you know, it's semi-okay, I'll buy this. If you're going to get a gallon of, okay, think about like a family of 5. If you're going to get a gallon of ice cream, you're going to want something that the whole family will like, right? So cotton candy, yes, one person or even 2 people might like it, but so you might have outliers. Whereas with people who, let's say you get a gallon of Mint Moose Tracks, you have both the people who like chocolate and the people who like mint. Like, I just don't understand. Like, there's not even a specific type. Like, I can understand, okay, maybe you don't like white chocolate, maybe you don't like dark chocolate, but there's no type of chocolate you like?
All right, on that point, I will agree to disagree with you.
Okay. And we'll leave it up to our viewers to decide who's going to move on to the next round and get to fight whoever wins the next round.
Excuse me, that's my line. So decide who won in the comments and the poll, whatever we decide to do. Thanks for listening to episode 4 of Chiefs Weekly Chat. I've been your host, Owen. Subscribe to Chiefs TV, and I'll see you in the next one.